All right. Y'all won't believe who I have sitting next to me today. She was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, a place that is abundantly rich in culture and history. It's the birthplace of jazz, the home of Mardi Gras, the capital of Creole cuisine, jambalaya, gumbo, red beans and rice, crawfish, oysters, po' boys, beignets. Man, I'm getting hungry just talking about it. New Orleans is the city where the levees broke in August of 2005. There's no wonder why she's the consummate survivor who can be described as independent, resilient, adaptable, hardworking, dedicated, consistent, innovative. The list goes on. When staying at different hotels while traveling, I often fear that the towels and sheets are not as clean as I'd prefer them to be. Thank God for B Luxury Essentials, birthed by this genius of a woman during the pandemic. I can now visit bluxuryessentials.com to purchase her high quality, yet affordable line of disposable and biodegradable linens and towels that are super easy to pack for my next trip. Business has been booming for this young lady since she became the first African-American woman to start a travel-friendly sanitary solutions company. How do I know? Well, she hit the six-figure mark in sales during her first year, which is no small feat. She's been featured in Ebony, Travel Noire, VoyageHouston, New York's very own Pix 11 News, Bold Journey, Canvas Rebel, Hype Magazine, and you're seeing her right now on Conversations with TinBridge. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to the one and only, self-proclaimed serial entrepreneur herself, Bridget Francis. What's up, Bridget?
Thank you so much. That was great.
Hey, listen, did I leave something out?
No. You did an amazing job.
Okay, cool.
That was good.
No,
I have to
thank
check
you.
my own resume.
Man, well, you know, like I said, I'm very inspired by you, your work, your story, just your ability to balance parenthood and entrepreneurship.
Whew.
We tried to do this in July.
We did.
Just want to let y'all know. We tried to do it in July, and she got on the flight, and there was like an internet outage.
Yeah, a global
right.
thing. Everything was shut down.
Yeah.
All of it was crazy in the airport that day. I thought something was going to go crazy, but I was like, oh wow, everything was canceled. All the flights was canceled.
All of them. But my wife had already told me, like, because the news came out, and she was like, oh man, Bridget might be on that flight. My wife's name. So when I say my wife's name, Bridget T, this is Bridget F. So I want to just get that out the way. But my wife had already told me about it. So I'm like, oh, I hope that doesn't affect Bridget
And it did.
F. And it did.
Yes.
So, but you know, God's timing, right? So
Timing
we don't
is
want to force anything.
Right.
If it didn't happen that day, then that's for a reason. And I'm glad that it's happening today. So how was your flight?
My flight was great.
It was good?
It was good. I was glad to get on it and get here. I went to sleep on it because I was like, I just can't wait. I'm just glad to be here. We finally doing it, and I couldn't sleep last night. I was just like, I just wanted to get here. So once I got on the plane, I was like, okay, I can rest.
And then you didn't bring Jersey.
And I didn't bring Jersey.
Shout out to Jersey. Listen, Jersey is an entrepreneur already. I saw your story the other day. She's selling bracelets. She's selling candy. What else? I mean,
candy, seashells.
So did you encourage her to do this?
No.
Wow.
No, and the crazy part, she has been begging for an online business. She was like, "Man, can you set me up an Etsy account?" And I'm like, "Girl,
how old is she? I want you to tell."
She's 9.
It's crazy.
9. Yeah. She's 9, and I'm like, Jersey, can I sell it? Can I go knock on people's door and sell it? Wow. I'm like, no, girl, that you cannot do that in this neighborhood.
But she got that type of courage already.
So I guess she said I said no, so she's going to do it on her own, and she stuffed up hers and went to school and came home.
She came home with like a wad of cash.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Yes. And then, so the crazy thing about parenting is that people think that if you tell your kids to do something, then that's really parenting, but it's more so demonstration. It's what they see you do every single day. So I know that had to inspire her.
It did, because when she told me she wanted to sell the bracelets, I was like, okay. So she asked me, could I buy her bracelet set? So I bought the beads, and I'm like, well, how much you selling them for? I'll buy all of them. So she was like, $5. So I'm like, how many you got made? So she was like, I got 5 minutes. So I'm like, okay. She was like, I said, well, I'm gonna give you the money. She was like, well, where's the money? So I was like,
Smart.
I'll give it to you. She's like, well, when you give me the money, I'll give you the bracelet. So
wow.
I dropped off at practice, and she was like, what you going to do? I was like, I'm going to get some groceries, and I'm come back and watch you practice. She was like, don't forget to stop at the ATM.
Had to remind you, don't you forget my money.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm like, okay. So I gave her the money. She gave me the bracelets. And she was like, you know what, Mom? I can't just give them to you like that. I need to get some packaging. And I'm like, what? she was like, can we get some package? And I'm like, okay, what kind of package? She was like, the bags with the drawstring. So
Wow.
I go on Amazon. I get the bags with the drawstring.
Because presentation matters, right?
Yes. She pays attention, like really.
To how you do things.
To how I do things.
And
So
you never told her to
I
do this.
never said nothing.
Wow.
Because I don't even really want her to worry about that. Just have fun, cheer, enjoy. Like, you don't have to sell
You don't
nothing.
have to be no entrepreneur. You know how hard this is?
Right.
I'm struggling, girl.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I got the packaging. So she got the packaging. So she was like, can you order me some stickers? Because I need to give them a gift that comes with the bracelet.
on,
because
Jersey.
it's going to make them want to. I said, what? Yes. So now she got a lollipop, a sticker inside the gift bag with the bracelet.
Wow.
I'm like, this is crazy.
And she's slanging this stuff
And
at
she's
school.
slinging it at school.
So, okay. So does she spend her own money on things that she wants, or she's like, she's saving it all and
she's
saying, no,
saving
mama,
it.
I want you to.
Everything is saving.
Wow. Smart.
I'm saving this.
Smart.
Yeah, she came that same day.
Mm-hmm.
She got in the car with that money, and she said, "Can she go to Cane's and get some toast?" So I'm like, "Okay." We pull up at Cane's. I'm like, she was like, "Oh no, I'm saving this." I'm like, "You don't want the toast." She was like, "But I'm saving my money." I'm like, "Whatever."
We spend your money, man.
Yeah.
This gonna come in handy for me later. Yeah. So you grew up in New Orleans, right? And part of the reason why I wanted to have you on is because of the voice. Like it's nostalgic because when I was in high school, man, I was a huge fan of like the Hot Boys,
me too.
Juvenile,
Me
BG, Turk, Lil Wayne, Big Timers. So when I heard your voice, because I think a real authentic New Orleans accent is when you can't understand what the person's saying. So I can still understand you, but I was like, oh, this is authentic. I gotta have. I don't even know what at that point. I don't even know what the business was. I'm like, I gotta have her on this show just from the accent alone, man. So you grew up in New Orleans. Explain to me, like the household you grew up in, your mom, your father. How many siblings did you have? Just give us a picture of how that looked when you were growing up.
So my mom has 3 kids. As I'm the oldest out of 3. I have a younger sister and a younger brother.
Okay.
My dad had 9 kids. Yeah. So my dad was killed when I was 5.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, he got killed when I was 5, and so it was just my mom and us 3.
Okay, so it was your mom, you're the oldest, and your sister is the second, and your brother is the very youngest.
Yes.
Got you. Okay. So what are some of the things that you picked up from your mom, like traits or, strengths?
Everything. My mama was like, she was her. She is her. Everything that you see in me, I'm for as far as getting it, survival, the independent, the mothering, like nurturing the kids. My mom was her.
Wow.
And I always say, like, I talked to her this morning. I say, I was just thinking about you. She was like, what? I say, for making me me. I say, because everybody compliment on how I am with my child. But if it wasn't for you, this all I know.
She gave you the blueprint.
She gave me the blueprint.
Wow.
And I said, I told her, I said, I don't know if I could have another child because this is hard, but I commend you because you did it with 3.
So it's kind of crazy as you get older, you start to, and then you become a parent and you like, dang, mom, you did all this?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then you have a greater appreciation.
Yes.
And you're even more empathetic to the mistakes that they made because you realize how hard it is doing it on your own, right?
Correct.
Wow.
I can remember always telling her, why we gotta wait to February to get Christmas stuff? And then when I knew that's when income tax came, because she was like, she didn't have it around Christmas time. So she used to tell us, bear with me. So one time I made a joke when it was around Christmas with Jersey. I said, you know what, Mom? I think I'm gonna tell Jersey to bear with me. And she said, I want to see that work for her. She don't have that kind of understanding.
No, she did. That ain't gonna work with Jersey. Yeah. So your siblings, right? Are you guys really close to this day?
We're all close.
Okay. So tell me something about your sister. Like what?
My sister, she just recently moved to Houston, and I'm happy about that. It's crazy because
you live in Houston now,
I live
right?
in Houston.
Okay.
So we were all close, but my sister and I, we wasn't that close growing up. You know how I think it's the middle child syndrome kind of thing. That's really a thing.
Because they be feeling left out.
They
you know
do.
What I'm saying?
They do. So me and my brother was really close. But me and my sister wasn't. But now that she moved, and I guess we're both single parents, like we kind of like understood like the way mom was and how it was important for us to be together. But it just was like we was all stuck in our ways. I was one way this way, she was this way, but now we're kind of like getting close and we're coming together. My little brother,
How often do you and your sister hang out now that she's in Houston?
we don't hang out because she works a lot and I work a lot. But I help with she helps me with my daughter. Like Jersey is by her now,
And she only a drive away.
and she's
That's good.
So we get together with the kids.
So she a workaholic like you too?
Yeah, she works from home. She works for a hospital, but she works from home. So
Your mama raised some hardworking kids. So what about? Tell me about your brother now.
so my little brother,
Is he still in New Orleans?
he's in New Orleans.
Okay.
He's in jail.
Okay.
He's incarcerated. He's that one, just gotta be rebellion. That really didn't have to live that life, but chose to go see based on, I think he kind of like, when you're one of those kids that wanted to see, because my dad was in the streets and he was took from the streets. So my brother just said, I guess kind of feel like, let me see what that's like. And it's really not really worth it. And like, I talked to him the other day, I sent him some money and I like, when you come home this time, you got to get your shit together. It's not worth it. He has kids too. So it's like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, no, my father was in prison from the time I was 2 to 25.
Oh, wow.
And it's interesting because he said the type of person I was at that time, it was probably good that God removed me from your life, right? And then he kind of equated it to like a rose trying to grow, but you got all these weeds or vines around it that want to choke the life out of it. And he kind of, made himself synonymous to those weeds that would have basically killed my chances of growing.
Totally get it.
But he said if he hadn't went to prison, now he's out doing great, got his master's degree in social work, doing phenomenal,
that's
right?
great.
But if he hadn't went to prison, he said he would have been killed. He know he would have been. So sometimes things happen for a reason, and I pray that when your brother gets out, he gets on the right path.
Yeah.
So but he has a great support system with your mother and then your sister, right?
And
so,
me,
yeah,
I be talking to him like, look, there's no time.
yeah, absolutely.
Get it right this time.
Absolutely. So when you were in high school, right? What did you, in your mind, what did you think you were going to be as an adult, profession wise?
Professional wise, a nurse.
A nurse?
A nurse.
Oh, a RN. That's what's up.
A nurse.
Yeah.
So it's crazy you said that because I wanted to be a nurse, and then I wanted to be working in criminal justice.
Criminal justice. What? Okay.
I was a big fan of Olivia.
Oh, Olivia Pope? Oh, so you want to be a lawyer. Okay, I got you. Okay. Yeah.
So I was a big fan of Olivia Pope and Olivia from Law and Order.
Oh, right. Okay,
So,
okay, got you.
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. But then I went to school, started school for nursing, then switched over to criminal justice, and none of it worked.
Why not? You just lost interest in it?
I did. I just started working.
So what was your first job like?
My very, very first job was Rave. I don't know if you remember Rave in the mall.
Rave.
It was kind of like on the order of like a Forever 21, but it was...
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Like affordable clothes. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
So I worked there, and then my next job was...
How old were you when you were working?
I was 16.
16.
I was still in high
That was your
school.
first. Okay, got you.
That was my first job.
And you did that because you wanted to. It wasn't like mama was like, hey, you got to get a job. Yeah.
It was, my mom got me a car when I was in high school. So she was like, I was only paying for the car. You got to get some gas money, whatever. She was like, I'll pay for gas where you need to go, but not all the other stuff. So I was like, all right, get a job. She was like, as long as it don't mess up with you in school, I'm fine with that. So I got the job at the mall. She was happy and all kind of stuff like that. So I did that. And then when I was in school, in college, I got a job at a dealership, at a car dealership.
Oh, yeah, I can see you doing it. Yeah, you could sell water to a well, boy. Yeah,
So I was a receptionist.
Oh, you was a receptionist? Okay, got you.
Yeah, I was a receptionist. So I was a receptionist at the dealership for years. And it was crazy because then I would go from dealership to dealership to dealership for the longest.
Wow.
And I worked at a cable company as well for about 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years? Okay, and this was all in NO still, right? Okay, so then at what point did you decide you wanted to open up your daycare?
So
that was in New Orleans?
So no, that was in Houston.
Houston, okay.
So that was another thing.
So we got to figure out why you moved from New Orleans to Houston now.
Okay. So why I moved from New Orleans to Houston? Okay, so so I was dating my husband. And so he was already in Houston, but he was from New Orleans. So we would go back and forth. And it worked for us. It was crazy because people were like, y'all, how y'all doing that? Like, we was married, but we would go back and forth. It worked for us. My job was there. I didn't feel like I wanted to leave my job. I had a house there. He had a house there. When I was off, we was just like back and forth. It was fine. So when I got pregnant, he was like,
You better come out here.
It's time to come all the way.
Man,
So
stand up guy, man.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm not used to just like cutting everything off. Now,
Up and leaving, yeah.
Right,
up,
so
yeah.
I trust you, but it's like I'm not used to it. I was so used to I've been working since I was 16. So
So it was going to go from that to you being fully dependent on somebody, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I got you. Because you didn't know anybody in Houston, I assume.
no,
Yeah.
but just my aunt.
Oh, got you. Okay.
But still, I'm saying financial wise, like I get it, but I just saw that I know I work. So I was like, okay, then I'll find a job. And he was like, okay, Bridget, really, who gonna hire you big pregnant? So I'm like, okay.
Because they know you about to go out on
They
leave.
know I'm about to go. Like, I'm you really like pushing it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so he taking care of everything. Everything is good.
And y'all not married at this point, right?
We married.
Oh, y'all married. Okay. Y'all got married before you moved out there. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, I'm just gonna take this time off and put my feet up and just I have a worry in the world. Like, it was perfect. So now I'm in Houston. So after when I had the baby, I'm like, you know what? I'm go back to work after this, but it's just I'm just have to get used to it.
Yeah.
It's gonna take me some time, but I'm just gonna enjoy my family.
Absolutely. Because being a mother that's tough.
It was different.
Yeah.
It was different.
Yeah.
So then I was like, so crazy part. They say you want to tell God, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan.
Tell him your plan.
So I'm like, okay, I'm have my baby, I'm go back to work, have my happy little family. Crazy part. The day I had Jersey was the day he was fighting a charge. The day I had Jersey, he told me the lawyer called and said he had to turn himself in. I was in shambles.
Wow.
Because I'm thinking, I'm about to have this family and we just about to go home.
And you can ease back into the
and
workforce.
I can ease back. At that point, I was forced. I was like, what the hell just happened? It was so crazy to where I had to stay in the hospital an extra week because of postpartum. And I didn't even know nothing about that. So my pressure was so high, I could not go home. Wow. So I went from being here to just broken, just crumbling down. It like I felt so hurt to the point to where I just really wanted to take that baby and just push it back and figure it out from there, because it's like now I'm about to, the biggest part of me is about to be gone and a big part of me is here. So it's like now I'm stuck and I'm in a place where I don't have nobody because all my family was really in New Orleans and my friends was in New Orleans. So it's like, what the hell is next?
Now you could have decided to go back to NO,
go back.
But you didn't.
But I didn't.
Why not?
I didn't want to raise my child there. It's a good place. No place like home. I love New Orleans. But to raise a child there compared to what she's getting now away is totally different.
The environment.
The environment. Jersey can outtalk me. Like, really.
I done heard her. She talked like she done lived on this earth before.
Yes. And
like that's her second life or something.
And I admire the environment she's in, and I wouldn't have it no other way.
Absolutely.
So I just had to stick it out.
Wow. So, okay, man. So at this point, your husband, he's in prison, right? How did you go about making money and taking care of you in Jersey?
So when he told me he had to turn himself in, he told the judge that his wife had just had a baby. And so she gave him some time to get some things together. So she gave him like 60 days. So one thing about him, he was a stand-up guy. He made sure bills was paid up for like the next year. Like I was, wow. He pulled strings from, if he didn't have it, he got somebody to take care of it while he was gone, and he would make it work.
So you had his friends and stuff looking out for you in Jersey, even while he was away. Wow. Okay.
So, but it was different because it's like it's not him, and I don't like to ask nobody for nothing. So it's like I need to get back to work. So a friend of ours, her mom watched Jersey, and I applied for a job at the dealership in Houston, and I got the job. So once I got the job, I moved from Houston to Katy because the traffic going back with a kid in the car crying every day. It's like, I can't do this. So I need to be closer to my job. So I got the job. Then I found a daycare, which was on the jobs list that we can get a discount if she goes to this daycare. So I was like, okay, when she make one, I'll put her in there and she can kind of communicate and I can know what's going on. David, that was the hardest shit ever.
Wow.
To put her in the daycare with people I didn't know.
Wow.
So I would go on my lunch break. I would check on her. I would take like 10-minute breaks to go run up the street just to peek at her and run back to work. It was hard.
Yeah.
I used to cry every day leaving her at the daycare.
How old was she at this time?
She was 1.
Oh, 1. Dang. Yeah,
he went to prison and she was 2 months. Yeah. So.
Dang. Yeah, and having to separate from your baby at the age of 1 where she can't talk to you and tell you how her day was, and you having to trust people that you don't know, right? Yeah.
So that was hard. So,
so that must have been the reason why you decided, like, I'm gonna open up my own daycare. That way, I'm gonna take care of her myself and still get money. I don't know.
Right. So listen, this was the thing. That was one of the things I've always wanted to do because as a teenager, that was one of my jobs. One of my jobs that I had too. I used to work for someone who had a daycare, and I used to love the feeling of being around those kids and teaching those kids, and then they go home and their mom come back and say, "Oh, such and such stage, Miss Bridget said this," or "Oh, tell Miss Bridget what you said," or "Show me what Miss Bridget showed you." And it was a good feeling to be able to teach them. So I was like, "Oh, I like this."
Yeah.
Like even walking into her daycare with all the kids, like the feeling it gave me is like, I want to do this.
Yeah, I worked at a daycare too in college.
Really?
My wife will tell you when my first 2 years, it was a work study job. So I only worked 10 hours a week, but and I taught the aftercare. Aftercare.
Okay.
So I would help them with their homework and all that stuff. So yeah, shout out to Markia. That was one of them. Kenneth, I can't even remember the other kids. I'm sorry, y'all, but I did it too. So,
okay.
But I had a greater appreciation for daycare workers after
after
that, because that 10 hours, I think I only worked 3.5 hours a day, 3 days a week. But man, it felt like hell.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's work.
Yeah, it's work.
It's work.
But you really gotta like it, or
really
you have to have a passion for it. I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were really good at it. I'm assuming.
I love it. I love it. I always say once I get full-fledged where I don't have to be hands-on, would be luxury like I am now, I wouldn't mind open another one. And I really want to open one for kids with disability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's not many, and there's a lot of kids that's disabled, but you have to really have the passion for it. And I really feel like kids that's born with disability, like they're just like any other child. It just may take them some time, but if you put them in that environment, they'll catch on. So I feel like people sometimes lack the intelligence that those kids have because they're just born with they put a name on it.
Yeah.
But if you give them a chance, you'll be amazed.
Wow. Absolutely. So, okay, you in Jersey, your husband is in prison. How often are you visiting him? Is he still in Houston, or did they move him to another city?
He was in Dallas.
Dallas, okay.
So we would go like, we first started out going every 2 weeks. Then when I started working, it was like once a month. But we would definitely go for holidays. I wouldn't let him not be without his family on holidays. He was going to get a visit. So I remember one time standing in the cold, in the snow in Dallas, in the rain with a baby.
Wow.
And she was balled up, and I was balling her up, and she just was happy, smiling, and I'm inside crying like, I can't believe this shit is really going on.
Wow.
So yeah.
Because it's tough too. I mean, when my father was in prison, and they, for, I guess, a certain amount of years, he was in the same city, probably about 20 minutes away from me. But it was tough going to visit him because, of course, you got to get searched and everything. And then, God forbid, there's they do a roll call or something like that when you're there, where they got to do a count or something.
Yeah.
So that's like another hour of just waiting in the lobby if they do the count before you actually get in there to see him. So it wasn't, I don't think enough people know how arduous of a process it is sometimes to actually visit your loved ones who are in prison, you know, but I'm sure he was appreciative to that you went out of your way
Yes.
like that to do that, especially during the holidays. Wow. Okay. So then you decided to start your own daycare, right? What were the challenges when you were trying to start it? I mean, did you have your own location? Was it just out of your apartment or house at first, or?
So when I did the daycare, it was after he died.
Well, wait, hold on. You said he died? Okay. So, while he was in prison.
So when he was in prison, I was working at the dealership.
I got you. He got out.
When he got out, I was still working at the dealership.
Got you. And then he ended up passing away. So, and I know you said that your dad was killed when you were 5. So, oh, wow. Was that something that brought you and your mother closer together? Because it was almost like the same path or the same experience.
So
right?
it was, so that's what I say, like, it makes me like appreciate more because I had to go down that same lane.
Yeah.
But I did it with 1 and she did it with 3.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you leaned on her heavily during that time, right?
Definitely. She when that took place, she came stay with me for a while.
Yeah, because she know what that felt like, I guess. Yeah, wow. Okay. So anyway, let's get to you starting the daycare. You just threw me a curveball there, man. But no, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, but anyway, let's get to you starting the daycare.
So let me rewind.
Okay. Yeah.
So what led me to start the daycare? So we could go back because
Yeah.
So like I told you, I was working at the dealership. He was in jail. So I was working at this particular dealership while he was in jail. And so then when he came home, I was still working at the dealership. So then I'm gonna tell you what led me up to the daycare. Then I got a position at another dealership, which was down the street. And they had me off on weekends. And I was like, okay, that's going to work because now I don't have to bring Jersey to the babysitter on the weekend, which was my aunt. And she lived an hour away. So I was driving an hour every other weekend just to have her to watch her. So I'm like, I don't have to do that anymore. Like and I'll make more money and then I'll have more time. He's coming home, so we'll be fine. So bam, he's home. So now I'm in transition, you know, working at the dealership. Fast forward, a week of me working in the dealership, the new dealership, he gets shot. So
where were you at when you heard the news that he had got shot, or because he passed away then?
Yeah,
right?
he lived a week.
He lived a week. Okay.
I was getting my hair done. So by my aunt, the one who keeps Jersey. So I was getting my hair done and I got the phone call that he was shot. But it was crazy because we had an argument like right prior to that. So I'm thinking he's got somebody to call my phone just to see if I'm going to respond to that. Like, this is some foolish shit going on. Like, I'm not about to. So the lady was like, your husband, he's a shot. And I'm like, yeah, FaceTime me, let me see. Because I'm thinking it's just him trying to get in contact with you.
Right. Okay.
So she FaceTimed me. And it was something I would never forget. He was full of blood on the ground. And I'm like, what the hell
So you saw this on FaceTime?
On FaceTime. Like the lady. And I'm like, what the hell? She was like, we called the police, but he said call his wife. And I'm like, did you? She was like, the police are on the way. I'm like, ma'am, stay with him. Like, stay with him. Whoever you are, just stay with them. And so I can have this number and stay. I'm on my way. So she told me what it was. So I try to get to the scene, but by this time she's like, we're on our way to the hospital. She tell me what hospital they at. So I get there. So all of this is going on, and which led me to the daycare is in the process of this going on, a week later he died. So when he died, so now I have to plan a funeral. And so after planning a funeral, missing days and all this and all that.
Was it back in New Orleans?
No, the funeral was back in New Orleans.
I got you.
So I did the funeral in New Orleans. So now I'm taking time. I took a week off because he was in the hospital fighting for his life for the whole week. Then he died. So now I go back to work. So now I'm up for a 30-day review. So I go for the 30-day review and they say, we have to let you go.
Wow.
Because you wasn't here. So based on the performance, we don't know. You can reapply, But we can't. And guess what, David? I couldn't get mad. It's business.
It's business.
It's business. But what I knew from that point on is no matter what you're going through, it's business.
Yeah, and you probably realized that even more once you became an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So I'm like, I said I would never let nobody dictate how I eat or what I do.
Wow. Wow. Let me ask you this, because you said y'all had gotten into an argument right before he passed away. I can only imagine that would feel worse for a person because
you know what?
Yeah.
I think it probably would have been worse if he would have died on the scene. But that we had a week together.
Oh, right.
We were able to talk everything out.
Yeah. So he was still able to talk.
He was
and
still
everything.
able to talk.
Wow.
And so, and he did tell me. He said, "I'm not gonna lie, Bridget." He said, "Everything that we went through, that I put you through, it was me." He said, "It was never you." Whoa. So, it was like a big relief.
Wow.
And I feel blessed because a lot of people don't get that.
Get that type of closure.
So I got closure.
Yeah, but it's the fact that you're able to see like the positive, you know, because a lot of people would just be bitter and resentful and why did this happen to me? But you're trying to find a silver lining in it, right? Because otherwise you'd go insane. You know, so the fact that you're saying that, man, yeah, what I went through was unfortunate, but there's many people who go through worse if they don't get that closure.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Wow, crazy. Okay, so that was the impetus for you wanting to become an entrepreneur. You didn't want anybody to have control over your ability to feed yourself and your baby.
Correct.
Got you. Wow. So when you started the daycare, what were the challenges in just getting it started?
So it was crazy because I was staying in a townhouse at the time when I said I want to do this. The townhouse didn't meet the requirements because as soon as you open the door, there's stairs. So how can you get kids out in the case of an emergency or fire or anything when the first thing you do is walk up a flight of stairs? So I was like, oh my God. So it's always something.
Always something, yeah.
So then I'm struggling with the stair. It's hard that he's gone. So then in my head, I'm feeling like I don't want to move because what if he's really not gone and he comes back and I'm not here? This is the house that we was in together. So like it was just crazy. I didn't want to change anything because I just thought it was unreal. So a year passed. I'm like, you know what? You gotta do what you need to do. I found the house. I moved. Started the whole process.
Yeah.
Opened the daycare. I loved it.
Wow.
I had the kids there, my kid there. Like it was everything. I took a whole room.
What was the most kids you had there? Like I guess at one time.
8.
8. Wow. Okay. Gotcha.
8. And
did you have some helpers, like people who worked there?
No, I didn't.
Wow.
So that was my ratio. So if I would have had help, but I could have got more kids, but I didn't have
1 to
help.
8.
Yeah.
So that's how you. Yep. You did what you were able to manage.
Yes.
Yep.
So I loved it, and so the kids were neighborhood kids, so it was easy. You know, COVID came.
Right.
COVID came.
Wow. Okay. So once COVID came, obviously, and at this point, what year did your husband pass away?
He passed away in 18.
18. So just a couple of years later, COVID hits, and now people aren't bringing their babies to the daycare because of the germs and stuff like that.
So now no daycares can't be open. Everything is shut down. It's like, so now what? So I'm like, oh, what the hell? I done moved into this house. The kids gone. But I'm like, I never, ever really was one that worries because I always pray. Like I'm big on prayer.
So you worry about the stuff you can't control, the stuff you can't, turn it over to God. So you're not carrying that weight. I got you.
Right. So I always said I wanted to do Be Luxury, but Be Luxury was one of those things that I felt like people would never get it or they would never understand it. So it was just something that I just had already like written down and put it down to do. And like I would do research every now and then, but then I would put it off because I'm like, nobody not going to have time to like pack no towels or get no sheets. They just gonna keep using their own. That's what I was doing.
So you had this idea even before you started the daycare?
Even before I started the daycare.
Okay, so Be Luxury Essentials, and just explain to everybody, like, what is it? What do you sell? You know what I'm saying?
It's a travel sanitary solution. It's the bedding, it's the disposable towels, it's the disposable toilet seat covers. I also have laundry bags that you could travel with, so you don't mix your dirty clothes with your clean clothes, because I'm big on that too. So everything that I sell was something that I always carried, but it was just from home. So now I will always be like, damn, I wonder if I can get this into a disposable. That way I don't have to bring this shit back home. Because I'm big on white towels and white sheets. So I would get it mixed up. But sometimes I would like put a black scratch on it so I can know what to pack back and what not. But then sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like bringing this back. Because sometimes I would leave the towels wet. It's just like, it was a mess. But I would have a suitcase for my travel stuff and a suitcase with my clothes. So and I'm like, I wonder if I research it one day, but I will always put it off. So when the daycare stopped, I had nothing but time.
Yeah, to research.
So I'm like, I'm cleaning up, because every time I feel like I'm overwhelmed with stuff, I have to clean up. I'm going to start with my purse. I'm going to start with the car, the house, the room, everything. I just got to declutter. That's the only way I could think clear. So I was like, okay. So
that actually makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes when you're going through stuff in life and it's like chaos, all you got to do is like straighten up your room and you'll feel better.
Yes.
So that makes sense. Yeah.
I'm big on that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm big on it. I would in the car, got to get detailed. Like, everything around me has to be clean. So I was like, okay, let me do this. So I just was writing. I'm like, you know what? I don't have nothing but time. Let me see what I can find.
Because the daycare closed at this point.
Because the daycare closed. So we inside. We stuck. We can't go nowhere. All we doing is riding the bike. You know how COVID was. Nobody can do nothing but think. So I was like, let me see. So I did some research, reached out to different vendors. I'm like, no, I don't like this fabric. Maybe this fabric. Reaching out, just going back and forth till I found
trying to
I like
find
it.
the right vendor, pretty much, right? Yeah.
So I found it. I was like, okay. I'm like, we still can't go inside, because I'm one. I get on my feet and hustle. Like, I'll pull up. You like this? So I'm like, but I can't even go nowhere to do this. So I'm like, maybe I could do it online. My friend Megan, she did the Megan is like a big part of Be Luxury. She's the other half of Be Luxury. Like, she is my go-to person. So she does websites. So I'm like, we're going to put this on the website. We're going to go through. I'm going to get this amount. We're going to see how this go. I'm going to launch. I'm going to do a photo shoot. I'm going to see how I play out. What I got to lose. So she was like, I like that idea. Okay, go with it. Bam. We did it. The first day I launched, it did pretty good.
Yeah, during the pandemic, right?
Yes.
Now, I want to explain this to people, because it's disposable. So as soon as you done using it on your trip, you throw it away. And biodegradable. I think biodegradable is the ability for a material to be broken down by the organisms in an ecosystem. No forced chemical reaction needs to take place to kickstart the process. So It's less pollution for the people out there who care about the environment.
Right.
So if you throw it away, it's going to be broken down by the environment. Less waste.
Right.
But that's brilliant.
Right. That's yes. Yeah. So we did that, and I was like, okay, it did good. I'm like, wow, it's something that I always want to do. So even if it work, it's work. If it don't, it don't.
That was brilliant.
Yeah. So
I mean, because you had this person, and I know I think you know her, but in 2021, Dr. J. Johnson. She's on Instagram. She's a business influencer and a content creator, and she pretty much said that I'm literally watching closely, because this boss she refers to you as a boss is next up in the millionaire game. She said that your brand of travel friendly products is the best out there. She basically called you a genius for coming up with the idea to sell disposable bedding and towels. And she said that everything from your marketing to your branding is absolutely A1. So to me, even when this was the first time I had ever even heard of something like this. People travel all the time, and they didn't really stop like that during the pandemic, right? So there was like I don't know, like a void in the market that you just filled. So I guess that's why I had so much success even the first year. Like I said in the intro, 6 figures the first year.
Right.
Crazy.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So because I was just doing it. Yeah. So I just was like doing it. So when I first launched, I was like, okay, so this did good. So I'm like, okay. So I'm keep going. I'm having fun with this. I'm liking it. I'm like, okay, so now I don't have to bring my stuff no more. I have my own stuff now. So now I'm packing light. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, I like this. Like, I can show the people what I'm doing, and and traveling at the same time.
Yeah.
So with COVID, we had certain restrictions and we had to wear the mask. We had to do this. So that kind of like fit in. It worked itself. So now people are traveling, but they have all these guidelines they have to follow, all this and all that. And there were germophobics that just didn't want to touch or use it at all. And that was my market. It was like those kind of people.
You said you asked yourself 3 questions when you were vetting ideas, for products for your company. The first question was, does it promote the importance of self-care? Second question was, will it help others in their pursuit to prioritize the health of their families? And then the third question was, does it solve a problem? Crazy, man.
And it did it all.
All 3 of them.
Yes.
And it's still doing it today.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So let's talk about just some of the reviews, right? Because I've heard people talk about the slippers, how plush they are, and the robes. As soon as you get them on the website or get them in stock, they sell out quick. And then you had another person who's a clinically diagnosed OCD patient. And I think you are diagnosed with OCD.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And she just talked about the fact that she felt seen. Can you answer this for me? Because somebody with OCD, if they're traveling and staying somewhere away from home, how hard is it for them to be like present, I guess? Because of course they're thinking about, man, are these sheets clean? Does this towel have lice in it or whatever the case may be? How difficult is that for a person?
It's very difficult. Yeah. It's very difficult. I remember one time going somewhere and Jersey went to a party and it turned into a just so happened sleepover. And you know me, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So, but and I knew the people, but I was like, so I'm like, you know what? She wanted to stay, but most of the girls were staying. So I was like, you know what? I'll let you stay. I got a room down the street. The closest hotel to her probably like 0.5 miles. David, the hotel was raggedy, but it was the closest I can get to her.
Wow.
When I tell you, I wasn't expecting to stay. We were supposed to go home. When I tell you, I could not sleep.
Wow.
I was mad that I checked in because I did better sleeping in my car.
Yeah.
Because of my OCD hadn't kicked in, and it's just like, this is not.
Yeah, because you see everything. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because there's like footage captured. It was it happened some years ago. It was a 5-star hotel, and they said, well, in the footage, the actual hotel worker was using the same towel to pretty much like clean all of the rooms. They used like a toilet scrubber to clean out the sink and the cups. They used the bath towel to clean the inside of the toilet. Then use those same gloves to put the bedding.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is like a 5-star hotel.
Yes.
So
it's real.
Yeah, it's real.
It's real.
Yeah.
It gets worse.
Yeah. Inside Edition, right? I saw this on your page. Checked into a hotel, right? They put their logo, the Inside Edition logo, on the pillowcase and the sheet. They checked out the hotel, came back the next day, checked in, shined the black light. The logos were still there. And this was during the pandemic. So since they had checked out the previous day, the hotel hadn't changed the sheets. You had another customer that said that her grandma had worked in the industry for years. She said if they don't see stains on the towels or the sheets, they won't change them, right? And she said that like the tubs, they'll just rinse them out, especially the jacuzzi tubs and mattresses. If they have a stain on them, they'll just flip them right over. Like this is a first-hand account from somebody's grandmother who said they worked in the industry for years.
I always talk to. I get cool with a lot of the housekeeping when I stay in the hotel, and I'm like, we talk, and they tell me the real. And they have certain times that they have to have those rooms done by. So if they don't see any visible stains, they're not changing it.
Yeah.
That, you know how much can happen on a sheet without you seeing a stain?
Yeah.
That's really, really dirty. Like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
That's nasty. That's horrible. It's germs. You don't know if I may have an infection, some kind of arm infection with somebody else's infection coinciding, and I'm wondering like, damn, how I get this worse? Not knowing that somebody else's body fluid that's probably infected with something else has made me worse.
Right.
It's crazy.
Man, that's absolutely crazy. You had another person talked about the quality, right? She said she was skeptical. She ordered it and she didn't think the quality. She like, man, this is disposable. The quality can't be that good. She said to her surprise, it was just as good as the towel she uses every day at home, if not better. And she said she couldn't believe it. So that just speaks to your level of professionalism, your integrity, the fact that you wanted something like, I'm not going to sell something to somebody that I don't want to use for myself.
That's me.
Wow.
That's
so
me.
that process, it took you a minute to find the right vendor,
It took me a minute,
right?
and guess what?
What?
I'm still working. Like the next batch, like I've been working. So the next batch of towels that I'm getting in now, they're going to be 3 times the thickness that I've been having. And
so you still constantly improving.
Yes,
It's like, yeah.
Yes, I want to get to the max, to where it's just like I have no choice but to be luxury when I travel.
Wow. I want to tell people this too. Another couple of customers said this. They said they ordered something on one day and they received it the very next day. Now I get it. Maybe they were living in a city that was adjacent to your city, right? Because if somebody's across the country, it might take longer. And then it might depend on like FedEx or US Postal Service. Something that's beyond your control might cause it to get to them later. But the fact that they received it the next day means that you don't sit with orders. You trying to get it out.
Because I treat people how I want to be treated. So if I'm swamped, I'm gonna call my people. Look, I got this. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Let's get it out. We got to get it out, because I feel like when I order something, I'm expecting. So
that's one of the biggest complaints with small businesses too. It's
I want to put out what I'm looking for, and I don't want, if you mention be luxury, if I want you to have something else to say. Don't say the quality is horrible. Don't say the shipping was delayed. What else could you say?
So you putting yourself in the mind of the consumer and saying whatever they could complain about, I'm gonna fix this.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. One more review. I think it was a person who said that they traveled to Rhode Island, stayed at a hotel. As soon as they got there, they noticed that it was hair in the towels, the bath towels, the big towel, and even the face cloth, right? And then she went down to the front desk of the hotel. She complained about it. They put her in another room, and then she saw hair on the sheets and on the pillowcases. Then she remembered that she had packed her Be Luxury Essentials bedding and towels, and it just put her at ease. She was able to enjoy the trip, and she basically said that she's never going anywhere without that. So as soon as she come back from a trip, she's ordering stuff off your website again. Crazy.
I loved it. I loved it. That's what I want. That's what I want. I want them to feel safe. I want them to feel comfortable, because who don't like to travel? But it's just like when you getting that comfortness, okay, so now it's time for me to shower. Now it's time for me to rest. I still want you to be comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Wow. So then you started getting featured. You only been in business for 3 years. I think July 26th was the 3-year anniversary.
July 24.
Well, wait, it's July 26, 2024 or July 24?
24.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
You've been in business. So you've been in business for 3 years. The first year you were in business, you were still getting featured and everything. I think Ray Ash, she's the CEO of Hype Magazine. She pretty much was on Pix 11 News, and she said that she was talking about your bedding. And she said that it's a quick fix that may solve your problems in 60 seconds. Like, how did you feel? And then I think you made the top 100 ranked products list.
Yes.
2 times.
Still to this day.
Yeah, 2023 and 2024.
Yep.
Back to back, right?
Yep.
So how did you feel when you started getting featured in all of these magazines and all of these reputable publications?
It's crazy, because that was never the thing.
Yeah.
Because that's why when I started Be Luxury, Megan was like, so you're gonna put your face? I'm like, no, this the logo. I just want people to get these items and be comfortable. And then when people started reaching out, she was like, well, they're asking for a picture and they're asking for this. I was like, of me?
Wow.
Like, I didn't want that. Like, I never wanted I just wanted them to get the products and feel comfortable and safe.
You didn't even care about getting the recognition for it like that.
No, that was never the thing. I just always wanted to be like
you
that
like
inside
the Kareem Biggs Burke and the Rockefeller. You just play the background.
Right,
You ain't trying to be the artist that's in all the videos.
At all. At all.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, Bridget, they're asking for headshot. I'm like, headshot? I don't have headshots. Like, so now I got to get photos done and this and this and that. So give them what they want. I'm like,
it makes sense, because I would say it would be a bad idea if you were somebody that just had a crappy personality. But like, you so down to earth that it can't help but to make people want to support you even more. So I'm glad that you started putting yourself, I'm serious, I'm glad you started putting yourself out there like that. Wow. So business has been booming. What are some of the challenges in the last 3 years that you faced, with respect to this business?
ooh. the challenges.
And balancing motherhood, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
So it took off so fast to where I was like, wait, I didn't know like the business side of it. I'm just ordering stuff, sending it out,
Yeah,
ordering
yeah.
stuff, sending it out. So it's like that's why I didn't even know once at the end of the year and Megan's going over everything. She was like, Bridget, you know you made 6 figures your first year. I was like, wait, huh?
You ain't even.
I didn't know.
Because you just had your head down, just marching straight forward. Yeah, right.
Just working, putting the money back in, working, putting the money back in, working, putting the money into this, working. I just was working. Then I had Jersey. Then that's a job in itself. So because it's just her and I, so it's like
that's 3 jobs.
Yes,
Really. Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't even realize it. So I was like, for real, she was like, yeah. So I'm like, so what's next? She was like, well, I don't know, you'll tell me. I'm like, well, we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
So like I said, there are more features, and I'm like saying to myself, I wasn't ready for this. Like this just took off so fast, and I'm looking, I'm like, it was just supposed to be me selling this, and so it's now me being hands-on, and people want to meet me, and people want to know me, and it was just supposed to be that. So now I'm juggling with, oh Lord, I just hope they take me for who I am, because this is all I know. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to be one of those people that's successful and then they have to deal with all the hate and the bad and the, oh, now you're doing this, so now you don't have time for that, because it's not that I don't have time for certain stuff. What I'm doing takes a lot, so I really can't come this time, or I really can't hang out this time.
So was that a problem where like some of your friends started to think like, dang, Bridget, we don't even hang out no more?
It's so crazy because,
or even some of the, maybe if you started dating or something.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So like the dating is really hard for me because I'm so locked in with work and I'm so locked in with my child. Like the dating part is really, really hard. My friends, I can count on my hand how many friends I have, and they all understand. Like
So you got a tight
push
circle.
me. I really have a tight circle. So like they kind of like push me, and they understand. And most of my friends are doing their own thing too. So, they get it. If they don't hear from me, sometimes they get it. I sometimes have my thing where some people be like, here she go again. I was shut down. Like you will not hear from me for like a few weeks because it's like I have to see what's going on with me, because it's easy for you to lose it. And
so you're not quick to react. You like, okay, let me take a step back. You know what I'm saying? Before I put out the wrong reaction,
Right.
then I might sever a relationship. Right.
Correct.
Got you.
So I'll step back, and then sometimes the step backs be like, you know what, this ain't gonna work. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh, so you done broke a lot of hearts.
I mean, I feel like this. In order to grow, it's just some stuff you just, and if it happens, it happens. But I'm just, I feel like everybody really have their run. So I'm in my run. So I got to make my run work for me while I have it.
Yeah.
So I can.
Like you in your prime right now.
I'm in my prime right now.
Yeah.
So let me max this till I can't max it, because I want to be retired at 50.
Right.
55.
And it's kind of different because you already got your baby, your daughter, 9-year-old Jersey, right? You would be good probably if you didn't have any more kids, right? So you don't want any more kids. Okay, so yeah, so it's not like you're like you have to hurry up and have a kid before time. You get what I'm trying to say. So as far as the partnership goes, if you can't find somebody that's going to like be able to fit right in like a puzzle, like you can't really disrupt what's going on here. I'll make some sacrifices, right, within reason.
Right.
So I get what you're saying.
Right.
I get what you're saying. Your priority right now is obviously taking care of your daughter, and then second to that is your purpose.
Correct.
I got you. Makes sense. And you don't ever want to be in a situation where you have to depend on somebody else.
Correct.
Because based on life, things can happen, and then you like, yeah, right. I got you.
I don't like to repeat the same mistakes, and I like to learn from my mistakes, and I like to learn from other people's mistakes too. So I'm big on that. So it's like, if everything falls on me, I know what I need to do.
Do you think if the right person came along, would it be hard for you to be vulnerable and open up and let that person in? Or has your past experiences, have they hardened you in a way over time or made you more like, oh man, this is, I don't like the way this feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
Soon as you start feeling those butterflies, it's like, hold on, this could get serious. And then,
No, it's
yeah.
and it's crazy because I like the butterflies.
Yeah.
But it's like, I know when the butterflies settle and that season change, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can you take that?
Oh, I get what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Because none of us are perfect. So
None of us.
I got a lot of good, but it's going to be some other stuff that come with that. Are you just going to run as soon as you see that? Or are you going to be patient enough to, allow me to work on my stuff and, support me? Right. I got you.
Right.
And that's tough.
And that's tough.
Yeah. I'm glad I met my wife. I met her when I was 19. So, we were both naive, didn't know anything about life. We didn't, if I wasn't married today at 40, I would be probably one of the most stubborn, narcissistic people.
Oh, I'm glad you
Well, because the longer you wait before you get married, like I got my one friend who's 40 and he's like taking his time. Right?
Oh, wow.
But the longer you wait, the more you get settled in your ways, the more baggage you can accumulate because you haven't been paired with somebody who can hold you accountable and call you out on stuff every day.
Right.
So that's the thing about it, is that as soon as I'm like, I don't know, getting too big for my bridges, or if I'm acting arrogant, or if I'm treating my family the wrong way, like my sister or whatever, my wife is going to be the first person to hold me accountable.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, for my friend, I think that's his challenge, is that right now he's like, it's almost unrealistic expectations. He wants the perfect person, but when I met Bridget when I was young, we both were, like I said, we didn't know anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Y'all grew together.
We grew together.
That's
so
good.
I think that is the challenge. I mean, when you wait, then you can sort of get some things out the way, accomplish your goals, go like full steam at your career. But I think the downside is that you're going to be really particular about who you allow to come in because you've worked so hard to build this thing up.
Hard.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying with that. Wow. Okay. Let's take it back a little bit. First off, congratulations on 55,000 followers.
Oh, thank you.
Your business page. You just hit that mark like late August. So that was big.
Yes.
Because you I think you on the website, it was like 55% off.
Oh, it went crazy.
It went crazy.
You would have thought it was Black Friday.
I told Bridget, I said, listen, once she get to the point to where it's 100,000 followers and it's 100% off, we got to make sure we checking the website. I want to let people. So I want to go back to 2005, late August, right? Because Hurricane Katrina was the costliest storm on record, according to NOAA's National Centers for Environmental Information. We talking about 1,392 fatalities. The largest loss of life was due to the flooding. 80% of the city had been flooded for weeks, and it pretty much destroyed most of the transportation and communication facilities. Tens of thousands of people who didn't evacuate in time were left with little food, little shelter, and other basic necessities, right? $190 billion in estimated damages. This was the fourth most intense Atlantic hurricane to make landfall in the contiguous United States. At that time, you were there, just walk me through it, because you were in New Orleans. You didn't evacuate in time?
So I saw the crazy part. I evacuated like the day before, and I wasn't going to leave. I was working at the daycare, I was telling you, for somebody.
Okay, got you.
I was working at the daycare, so I wasn't going to leave. My aunt, she was leaving, and at the time, I was staying in the house with her, which was the house I grew up in. So she was leaving, and I was like, I'm gonna stay. So my mom called, and she said, Bridget, can you do me a favor? I'm like, what? She was like, go to your grandma's house and go grab the dogs. And I'm like, all right. She was like, bring me the dogs. I was like, okay. So I go to my grandmother's house. My grandmother gone. Like, old folks don't play. They gone. As soon as they see someone on the news, they gone.
They out of here. Yeah.
So she was gone. So my mom asked me to go grab the dogs. So I'm like, okay. So I go grab the dogs. I bring them to my mom. So she was like, what you about to do? I was like, I'm going inside. I'm staying. She was like, Bridget, please don't stay. I was like,
oh, man.
I'm not worried about this. She was like, just come take a ride with us. We're going to Tennessee.
Yeah.
I was like, Tennessee? She was like, yeah. I was like, come on. She was like, just come on. I'm like, all right, Mom, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Go back to the house, grab some clothes, get in the car with them, go to Tennessee. Best decision ever.
Yeah, man.
Best decision ever. Because when we came back to check the house that I said I was going to stay in, the whole roof was gone.
Whoa.
The whole entire roof was gone.
Wow.
So had I would have stayed there, everybody was gone. I just wanted to stay because I don't like to be out of my place. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
yeah.
and I was like, ain't nothing gonna happen. Shh.
Wow. So okay. So you went to Tennessee. How long were you there before you
We
came
was
back?
in Tennessee for like 3 or 4 weeks. Miserable because at that time I had just made 18. So the cell phone's not working. That's all we could. I can't get in touch with nobody. It's just I'm sitting out with my mom, my brothers, my sister, and we just fussing and fighting because everybody just so aggravated. Everybody want to go back home, and it was just a mess. So we get back home. That was the year I graduated high school. So we get back home. So my mom's house in Slidell, we was living off a generator. And we was getting the food from the army truck. And some of the stores was open, but they was open for a little while and you're going to get a certain amount of things. So I was miserable. So I got a little phone service. So now I'm calling any college that could let me in the dorm room because I got to get out of this house. So that's when I got Southeastern said, come on. They wasn't charging nothing. I just left because I just wanted somewhere to go.
Right.
So I'm like telling my mama, okay, they got a nursing program over there.
Yeah.
So she signed me up, but I'm really just trying to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went there, wasting my time, man. Theirs.
Wow. So what do you think, like, going through something like that, like, it's either going to kill you or make you stronger? Like, I asked you earlier, what are some of the strengths you got from your mom? Can you explain what some of the strengths were you got from your city? And even going through that whole, Hurricane Katrina thing. Yeah.
So like one thing about New Orleans, you're going to survive. You're going to find a way to survive anywhere you go. Like that's one thing about New Orleans people. They're going to embrace you and then you're going to learn survival skills. Because guess what? Whether you with family or not, you have to know how to survive. Like you it's just something that's instilled in you coming up in that city. Survival.
Wow.
So even with nothing, even with losing everything, I still went to school with nothing and survived and made the best of it. I figured out how to go get in line for Red Cross. I figured out how to get food vouchers. I figured out all kind of ways to maneuver to get money because we had lost everything.
And I think that's important, knowing how to maneuver when you have nothing. You know what I mean? It's easy to maneuver when you got money, right? That's
with
what's
nothing.
up. Yeah. With nothing. Wow. One of the other reasons why I wanted you on the show, so I talked about the accent. Of course, the genius level of just your thought process and coming up with this idea for Be Luxury Essentials. I think it's absolutely genius. The third reason is because we connected. I'm not going to mention the person's name, but it was a high profile person who, let's say they passed, came back to haunt them. And you posted something on IG and it was almost like in the vein of, man, why we all so quick to judge, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dang, so she got her business and she's actually putting something out here that's not a popular opinion. So it gave me an even greater respect because I'm like, oh, this person stand on business.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So I commented on the post, and we agreed, obviously. But like there's this, what is it? John chapter 8, verse 7. The Pharisees brought this woman to Jesus who had committed adultery. And they basically told Jesus that this act was punishable by stoning, according to the Mosaic law at that time, right? So they was trying to trick Jesus into basically judging her so then they could charge him with something. But he didn't fall for the bait, of course. And he took a second, he paused, and he responded. And he said, he who is without sin among you, let him be the first person to cast a stone at her, right? Let him cast the first stone at her. So everybody just kind of look, they were touched by their conscience. It was almost like Jesus put a mirror up in front of them so that they could acknowledge their own transgressions, iniquities, and their imperfections and failures. And as a result of that, the whole crowd dispersed. Nobody threw any stones at her. And that's important, because it's like we spend so much time judging other people and worried about what other people are doing, and we lose sight of our own imperfections. And then we end up in a situation that we never thought we would get into because we wasn't managing our own crap.
Correct.
So is that why you posted that?
So,
because I know you go to church and everything.
Yes. So, and like you said, there's several, and I can't quote word from word or script for script, but that's all through the Bible. Like, you're not supposed to judge nobody. That's not for you to do.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what brought that person. People have mental, and none of it was right. I said in the post.
You said, hey, I ain't condoning this.
I'm not condoning it. I'm not condoning it. He was absolutely wrong. But you don't know what triggered a person mental. Like, you don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
You just don't know. So don't go so for you. It's two sides to every story. And I feel like she was a victim. I feel like people get out of situations that they want to get out of. People stay in situations that they stay in. It all depends on what's beneficial.
I like that because it's almost like we're so quick to assign a victim status to somebody,
Right.
but it's like, hold on, wait. You stayed for this long. Or let's say the person, like I think Mike Tyson when he went to prison for rape, and it's like, well, why was you in this guy's room at 1 a.m, right? Not to say what he did was right. But we got to talk about this productively so that we can prevent somebody from ending up in that situation again.
Correct.
Right? Because the answer isn't just to say, oh, people shouldn't do this. It's like, no, that's not the world we live in. So I get you on that. So, and then the judgment, because again, if you're judging something based on, let's say if it's in a spirit of humility, let's say if it's being constructive, that's different. This was in a more moralistic way where they were basically assigning or passing moral judgment on other people to prop themselves up. Sometimes people will put other people down to make themselves feel more morally superior.
Right.
And that's what a lot of it felt like.
Right.
It's like, wait, hold on, let's talk about some of the stuff you done.
Right.
You ain't perfect.
Right.
So yeah, I get you on that.
Right. And I'm big on it. Like, I'm big on it takes two. Like, you have to know both sides. Like, and the way the relationship was like portrayed, like, to stay around that long, it really takes two. Like, it's like I said, it was some beneficial to it.
Of course.
And that's
status, money, all of that. Yeah.
And that's just
doesn't justify
it. Does not.
But we got to learn how to be adults and start talking about things in a very productive and constructive manner, right? That's just what it is. Even if you go like watch a court case or something, that's how they doing it. They talking about both sides, and you got to be able to suspend your emotions from it in order to assess it objectively. So I that's why I felt what you were saying. And you're right, that's all throughout the Bible, but it's funny how we sort of put the Bible to the side when it's convenient for us to do so.
And pick it up when it's convenient too.
Yeah. So that plays a big that's a big part of your life too, is your belief in God, your faith in God, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I stand on that Bible.
You found a pretty good church, or you got
I go to Higher Dimension in Houston.
Okay, shout out to Higher Dimension.
Higher Dimension, Pastor J.
Higher Dimension, Pastor J. Shout out to Pastor J. That's what's up, man. So no, actually, again, those were the reasons why I wanted you on the show. You went through your whole story. You talked about being raised in New Orleans, losing your father at 5 years old, and then Hurricane Katrina. That hit, right? So you ended up moving to Houston with your husband, and you were in a vulnerable position because you wasn't working. But then once you had Jersey, you like, well, I kind of like this. I'm just gonna ease back into the workforce, and then all of a sudden, your husband goes to prison. Your whole life, like you had this vision for how your life was gonna go, and like you said, tell God your plans if you want to make him laugh, right? So then after that happens, your husband ended up getting murdered, right? You started the daycare. Was it after that? After that. The reason why you started the daycare is because you got laid off from your job, and you didn't want anybody to be able to control how you was able to feed your family, right? So then COVID happens, right? Cool. So then you said, okay, now I got to come up with something to where if a natural disaster, if something happens, I'm still going to be able to slang what I need. So you kept making these adjustments on the fly, and it speaks to your brilliance. It speaks to your strength, your dedication, your resilience, and just this positive attitude of like, man, what am I going to complain for?
Right.
Like, that's not going to help.
Not.
So yeah, I just wanted to run through all that just to let people know how incredible your story is, and I know that so many people are going to be inspired by this. I hope you keep doing podcasts because you're good at it. You're good at it.
My baby on a podcast.
For real?
She does.
I saw she was recording and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, and you was the camera person.
Yes.
Yeah, it was her and her friend on the couch.
Her friend, yes, on the
Okay.
couch.
Yeah, shout out to Jersey. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna work on that for her for Christmas. I'm gonna probably redo her playroom and like make.
You got to be the first guest.
Oh yeah. I think I was on the sofa, but yeah. So she had her flashcards and everything.
She had to play. So what are your plans like 5 years from now? Where do you see the business going? Do you have other ideas for more businesses? Talk to us about the future.
So yes,
you probably can't tell us too much, but go ahead.
So next, I'm really working on getting vending machines in the airports.
Come on, man. Come on.
So that's my goal. I really want to get vending machines in the airports. I really want to keep it based. I don't want to. At first, I was thinking about it, but the more I learned the business side of it, I was looking to go into big stores, major stores. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it to me.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Bridget T, we know who to borrow money from if we ever need it. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
I'm going to give y'all the vending machine in Detroit.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. All we got to do is pick up the cash and restock.
And go to the airport.
Okay, I got you.
So, yeah. So, that's my next thing. Far as a business-wise, I want to, like I said, do the daycares for kids with disabilities. And do that. And then I want to retire when I make about 55.
55? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I can see you and your life partner traveling because you're going to meet them before
okay,
you retire. Yeah. Okay. I can see that. Happening. Yeah. But retire and then, you probably, let me see, by 55, you probably going to have some grandkids by then.
I don't know. It's so crazy because like we were just talking about kids don't do what we tell them they do, what they see. And so Jersey told me one time, she said, I think her name is Skylar. She was like, Mom, when I have a daughter, her name is going to be Skylar. And I'm going to do this, like you did with me. And I'm like, oh, you're going to be a great mom. She said, yeah, I'm be just like you. And I'm like, she said her name is going to be Skylar. And she said the last name. I said, well, how you know who you're going to marry? And then she was like, I don't need to marry. I'm like, oh, this is the part that just crumbles. Oh man,
yeah.
I'm like,
she don't know how tough this is. Yeah.
She don't know. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I was married. I married your dad, but he just passed, and now you have an angel. And she was like, well, maybe her dad. I'm like, no, it don't go like that. Wow. And that's the part of parenthood that's a struggle that you kind of I tell you no lie. That night I was in the shower crying because I'm like, she don't get it.
She don't get it. And how do you teach her that if you're not in a position to demonstrate it? Right. Yeah.
And that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because you just think it's just me and it could be like me and her forever. And I'm cool with that too. But that's, if you want a family, I had a family, you just missed the part. It was took from you so fast.
When she was old enough to start talking, having conversations with you, she would probably, I'm assuming she would ask a lot of questions about her.
So she,
because how old was she when he passed away?
He died 2 days before she was making 3.
3, okay, gotcha, okay.
So, Christmas is hard for us. That was like the last holiday that they spent. So Christmas is hard for a while. I would travel for Christmas because I didn't want to face the home opening the gifts Christmas. That was the last Christmas that we had together because that's what we did. Because he was killed in January, so Christmas was the last holiday after New Year's. But with her, all us together and stuff like that. So me and him went out on New Year's Day. So she was with my aunt. So, but us as a family, Christmas was that last holiday. So it's kind of like hard for Christmas. So we would travel, and up until not last Christmas before that, she said, Mom, can we have a regular Christmas? I'm like, what's a regular Christmas? She was like, just at home opening gifts like regular people do. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
So, but I think it was more so me trying to fight the pain of not having her to be like, okay, now this is done. I want my dad, because around Christmas time, she gets like that. Everybody around I'm probably like the only cheer mom, like as a single parent. So it's hard, so she kind of like, see all that stuff going on and like, where's my dad? Why could my dad stay long enough to do this or to do that? So it's explaining that, and it's just a lot.
She has. Okay, I'm sorry.
She doesn't know what happened. She just know that he passed.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I can see. Yeah. So she has positive male role models around her.
So yeah, I have one friend that's like my best friend.
Nice. Okay, good.
Yeah, and he steps up every now and then trying to, for the most part, he does a great job. I'm gonna take that back. He does a great job for what he can do. Because he's in New Orleans, so he looks out on that father figure side for her as much as he can. So yeah,
that's what helped me. I had like my basketball coach. I had role models. I mean, as far as what helped me to become a good, I wouldn't even say I'm a good husband. I'm getting better and better every day. I don't want to just, say I'm good already, because there's a lot more husbanding to do. But the person who helped me is a guy named Robert Avila, Antonio Freeman. So when I graduated from college, I moved to Arizona, and Antonio Freeman, he ended up passing away, but he was older than me, and he would invite me over for holidays to be around him and his wife, and he had 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Then I moved to California. I started working for Lockheed Martin, company out there, and then all of the younger engineers were like, "Hey man, why you don't never hang with us?" I always hung with Robert Avila, right? And the reason being is because, and he was like 60 at that time. He was getting ready to retire, but he was such a good husband. And I didn't know it at that time because I wasn't a husband or a father yet, but that's what I was yearning for. And I just didn't want to hang with young dudes who were still, I'm trying to be good at this. I didn't really see this in the house. So this is my preparation. And obviously, once I got married, my wife was more prepared to step into that role of being a wife than I was of being a husband. But if I didn't have Robert Avila and Antonio Freeman, I would have been lost. So yeah, of course, people can't come in and they're not going to replace your father, biological father, one for one. But man, it's better than not having anything at all. So I thank God for those male influences in my life, and I'm sure as a result of Jersey having that, she's gonna be just fine. So
yeah. So yeah, I pray on that major, because I'm like, I tried to give her, I try to give her the best I can. So
you did. You doing it. Look at you. Look, you doing it. Jersey look like she ain't missing a beat. She ain't wanting for nothing. She don't need nothing. She know how to get her own money at 9. There's people that's 50 years old that don't know how to get their own money.
For real.
So you did a great job. You're doing a great job. And thank you so much. Is it any final words? Anything you want to say?
I'm glad to hear. And I want you to continue on doing what you're doing. I've pretty much watched all your interviews, and I'm like, okay, so now it's my turn.
Heck yeah. That's what I'm saying.
With the great people you had, I'm a big Mia fan. So
Mia Ray, shout out to her.
Yeah, all the people that you interviewed are like, I'm like,
you right there with them. So that's why we got you on the show.
So
you can look into this camera and let people know where they can follow you.
They can follow me on Instagram at B_luxury essentials. B__ essentials. Yeah. So also you can follow me. I'm just getting in the swing of things on TikTok. So be luxury. I cannot do TikTok for nothing. I'm trying.
Is crazy,
it's
man.
hard for me. So it's be luxury on TikTok, and most importantly, www.bluxuryessentials.com.
Man, I love the accent, man. I'm about to listen to 400 Degrees in the car.
That was my favorite album.
Oh man, that album was a classic. Classic, man. So thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, y'all. This is Conversation with TinBridge. Peace.